lawyer who uses Gmail in your practice, you need to stop now. Now. I'm not kidding. Now. Listen, I am not some Luddite. I am not someone who's afraid of technology. I'm not the kind of person who comes up and says, oh, you need to stop using technology because it's bad. I'm the kind of guy who says, no, we should use technology. It's important. It can really help the practice and make us more efficient. But I'm an ethics guy. And when I see a danger, I've got to tell you about it. And ordinarily, things like this wouldn't make me hysterical. But I am apoplectic today. For years, I've been warning lawyers about the dangers of Gmail, and up until today, I felt that the dangers really weren't so terrible. And here's why. To understand what I mean, you need a little bit of a history lesson. How do you make an ethics discussion more boring? You make it a history of ethics. Bear with me. For those of us who are old enough to remember a day before there was email, that's right, boys and girls, there was a day before email was used in the practice of law. You remember that when email first came out in the early 90s, we couldn't use it in the practice. And the reason was because lawyers didn't have a reasonable expectation of privacy in the medium. Well, that changed in 1999. The American Bar Association came out with an opinion that said Congress has now criminalized the interception of email communication. And because that has been criminalized, lawyers now have a reasonable expectation of privacy in using that particular mode of communication. And every single jurisdiction followed suit, and that's why we've been able to use unencrypted email ever since. Now, there's been some changes to the issue about whether we can use unencrypted email. There have been some tweaks over the past couple of years, but that's not really what I'm discussing today. Generally, there are still instances where lawyers could use unencrypted email if it's not sensitive information, you know, that kind of thing. Now, over the past several years, there have been some questions about whether lawyers can still use unencrypted email, or whether they need to encrypt everything. And I think from the different articles you can probably tell that in certain circumstances, unencrypted email is still permitted, and there are a growing number of circumstances where lawyers should really encrypt their messages. But despite those opinions, I don't think you can use Gmail ethically anymore at all. The issue arose when it comes to Gmail in New York in 2008. And the reason it came up is because Gmail kept their service free by advertising. They would go ahead and read through the emails that someone was sending, and they would target advertising to the recipient based on the content of those emails. Now, you as a lawyer are probably saying, what? They read our emails? How can we be complying with our duty of confidentiality if they're reading our emails? Don't worry, the New York State Bar Association said in Opinion 820 in 2008. They said, don't worry. No human being ever reads your emails. And since no human being ever reads your emails, it's only done by computer at Gmail. Since no human being ever reads your emails, you still have a reasonable expectation of privacy and you can continue to use Gmail. But that has changed. Now, I gotta be honest with you, I don't know that it's changed recently as much as it has just been revealed to us. But look at what I read in the Wall Street Journal just this month. Google Inc. told lawmakers it continues to allow other companies to scan and share data from Gmail accounts, responding to questions raised on Capitol Hill about privacy and potential misuse of information contained in users' emails. In a letter to senators, a top Google official said the company allows app developers to scan Gmail accounts, even though Google itself stopped the practice for the purpose of ad targeting last year. Now listen to this. The company also disclosed that app developers generally are free to share the data with others as long as Google determines that their privacy policies adequately disclose potential uses. But here is where you really need to be concerned. In some cases, employees at these app companies have read people's actual emails in order to improve their software algorithms. They're admitting that they have read our emails. That completely blows a lawyer's expectation of privacy out of the water. We no longer have a reasonable expectation of privacy in this particular provider. It just doesn't exist. This is exactly what Opinion 820 was talking about. Now, I know that Gmail has a form of encryption when you send emails through that system, but Gmail retains an unencrypted copy of the messages that are sent on its platform. And it appears that they are sharing that information with some of their partners. If Gmail is admitting that some of its partners, some of the human beings that work for its partners are reading through emails, well, we don't know if it's ours. We don't know if one of those emails are some of the lawyers' emails that have confidential information. We no longer have a reasonable expectation of privacy. The conclusion to New York State Bar Association Opinion 820. A lawyer may use an email service provider that conducts computer scans of emails to generate computer advertising where the emails are not reviewed by or provided to other individuals. Those emails are provided to other individuals. They're no longer just computer scans. They probably haven't just been computer scans for a really long time, and we're just figuring it out. And because of that, I don't think lawyers have a reasonable expectation of privacy in this platform anymore. And I genuinely think that the time has come for us to stop using it in our practice. Oh, and that includes those of us who maybe have an email account for work and just send something to our personal Gmail account because we want to have it at home, that sort of thing. Yeah, I know a lot of government lawyers do that sort of thing too. You gotta stop. Now, of course, there's nothing written specifically that confirms what I've said to you. No one has come out with an opinion confirming it, and that's absolutely true. You know when we're gonna know for sure that I'm right? When someone takes one for the team. That's what ends up happening. Someone gets in trouble. There's a disciplinary order, and that's when everyone starts to listen. Don't wait. Listen to me now. Just stop using it. Listen, I'm sorry to be the bearer of this bad news, and I know I sound hysterical, but I think it's that serious. I'm sorry I upset you. I'm sorry I got hysterical, but I think it's a serious issue, and I really think you ought to listen.